Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my channel? Thank you so much. William's first love is back. Not only did he let her move into our home, but he also gave her one of his shirts to wear as pajamas when he gently dried her hair. I suddenly realized that he wasn't cold and distant with everyone. I was originally on a business trip out of town. Knowing that William had social engagements today, I hurried back early without telling him. William has a bad stomach and ulcers, especially recently. He's been in a lot of pain. If he couldn't cancel his engagement, I would have to go back and make him some herbal medicine. I intended to surprise him, but instead I gave myself a shock. I opened the door with my key and the lights were on. William was home, but when I called out, no one responded. I only heard the sound of a hairdryer coming from the bathroom. Following the sound, I was frozen in place by the scene in front of me. William wasn't alone in the bathroom. With him was a strange woman. The woman had her thighs exposed and was only wearing a loose white shirt. Her curled wet hair was loose, and William stood behind her in light gray pajamas, holding a hairdryer in one hand and lifting the woman's hair with the other. In that position, he almost held the woman in his arms. Through the half-length mirror, I saw a faint smile on William's face. His lips were upturned and his eyes were gentle. Yes, gentle. I actually saw the word gentle and William. How blinding. I had known William for 5 years, from our meeting to our marriage. He was cold by nature, indifferent to others, and apathetic towards me, as if nothing could stir strong emotions in him. He could laugh, but it was always a smile that didn't reach his eyes. I didn't pay much attention to this. Everyone has different personalities. Since I chose him, I had to fully accept his strengths and weaknesses. At least he treated me differently from others, but now it seemed I was just another outsider. Leaning against the doorframe, my mind was in chaos, but I quickly calmed myself down. I knocked on the open door. "Excuse me." The bubble of the romantic atmosphere was instantly burst, and the two people a few steps away finally noticed my presence. The woman was startled and cried out in panic. William also turned around in shock. Instinctively, he hid the woman behind him. His movement was subtle, probably even unnoticed by him. He frowned at me and said, "Why are you back early?" I raised an eyebrow and crossed my arms. "What did I interrupt? Your good time? You too? Have you already been in bed, or are you just about to?" William's expression darkened immediately. "Katie, what nonsense are you talking about?" I threw my suitcase down with a thud. "Then you might as well see what you're doing. A man and a woman in the bathroom, playing like this?" Katie, the woman hiding behind William, suddenly spoke up. "Miss Katie, you misunderstood. There's nothing sordid between me and William. We're just friends." She looked indignant, as if I were insulting her. I tilted my head and looked at her. "If you want to say something so shameless, then please move your chest away from my husband's back first." After saying this, I turned to William. "Is it soft? Does it feel good?" The woman looked humiliated and angry, and she hurriedly let go of William. "How can you say such thing?" I sneered. "What's wrong with my words, vulgar or low class? You're not saying it, but you're doing it." The woman, furious, tried to step forward, but William stopped her. "Everyone shut up." The woman, feeling wrong, said, "William, are you just going to let her slander me?" I scoffed. "Then what else should I let you do? Curse at me or hit me? That would make it even more unclear, especially since I'm still on the same household registration as him. Or you could be brave and tell me your true love. I have a good heart and I'm most willing to support true love." "Shut up!" William pulled my hand and dragged me outside. "Let's talk." I didn't resist. I just turned back and smiled at the woman. "Make yourself at home." The woman. William pulled me into the bedroom. He slammed the door shut. For the first time, he, who usually strategizes, seemed a bit out of control. I glanced at the bed. It was very tidy, not even a wrinkle. I regretfully clicked my tongue. "Looks like you guys didn't have a chance to sleep. I came back too early." "Shut up!" William's eyes burned with anger. "Do you have to say such hurtful things? You weren't like this before." I chuckled softly. "Ding dong! I've unlocked the real Katie for you." Surprised, William took a deep breath. "I don't want to argue with you. We'll talk about this later. She's my college classmate who just returned from abroad and temporarily has no place to stay. so I let her stay here for one night. Katie, stop causing trouble. I looked at William. Is this what you wanted to say when you closed the door? William expressed his attitude through silence. It would be a lie to say I wasn't disappointed. The reason I was willing to go in with him was that I had expectations for him. I hoped he could give me a reasonable explanation. Amidst my sharp attitude, clearly, I was being overly sentimental. Got it. Staying at home, right? No problem. You two enjoy yourselves. After saying this, I turned to leave. William grabbed my arm. Where are you going? I looked at him in shock. I can't take it. William tightened his grip on my hand, which really hurt. Katie, what are you going crazy about? I shook him off forcefully. Am I going crazy or are you? Do you even know what you're doing? William, stop disgusting me. I opened the door and walked out. The woman had already changed out of the shirt. She was now wearing a long dress. Her eyes were red, and she forced a smile at William. William, I think I should leave now so I don't trouble you too. Turning to me, she said, Miss Katie, you really misunderstood. Here's William's shirt. I'm returning it to you. She extended William's shirt toward me. As she let go, I stepped back, and the shirt fell to the floor. Trash should be thrown in the trash can. What does this mean to me? William suddenly looked up, his eyes furious. Fixed on me, his expression shifting rapidly, then he spoke. No need to leave, just stay here. The woman's eyes lit up. She hesitated and said, Isn't that inappropriate, you and Miss Katie? William interrupted her. You don't need to worry. If I say you can stay, then stay. Otherwise, where can you go? This casual conversation made me feel utterly nauseated. I didn't want to say another word. Picking up my suitcase from the floor, I turned and walked away. I hardly went downstairs. As the cool breeze hit me, I couldn't help but shiver. Then came the wave of nausea. I bent over and gagged repeatedly. Sad, heartbroken, angry, aggrieved. I couldn't sort through my emotions in that moment. I only felt utterly exhausted. The facade of calmness crumbled at that instant. It was too absurd. I never thought William would cheat. He's the kind of person who is calm and composed. For so many years, his surroundings had always been clean. It wasn't that no one tried to get close to him. It was that he understood boundaries and distance. I once thought that if he ever developed feelings for someone else, he would first end things with me instead of doing something as disgusting as straddling two boats. It had nothing to do with love. It was just about a person's character. But reality slapped me hard in the face. William, what are you doing, and who is that woman? With this question, I returned to the old house. I remembered there was an album in the storage room, a birthday gift someone gave William during his university days. It was filled with pictures of William. There were solo shots of him and some with others. It was a thoughtful gift. I had asked him who gave it to him, and he said it was a college classmate, a girl. After all, guys don't usually do such detailed things. William just replied with a, I wanted to ask whether that girl liked him, but William changed the subject. At that time, I didn't think much of it. After all, William's reaction was very indifferent, so much so that I had no desire to dig deeper. The old house wasn't far. It only took about 20 minutes to get there. Compared to our new home, I preferred this old house. William and I lived here for 2.5 years before moving out after getting married. Sometimes, when I felt down, I would come here to stay for a while. This place helped me relax. I opened the door and walked in, feeling worse than ever. I quickly found the album in the storage room. In the pictures, William looked youthful. Although he didn't smile much, he exuded youthful energy. Many photos appeared to be candid shots, as they were mostly taken from the side. In the few frontal shots, William wore his graduation gown. That was his graduation photo. He had pictures with different people, both girls and boys. I looked at them one by one. Suddenly, my hand paused. This was a group photo that was different from the others. The two people were very close, their arms pressed tightly against each other. The boy had a slight smile, leaning slightly to the left. The girl was beaming, gently resting her head on the boy's shoulder. Although her appearance had changed somewhat, I recognized her immediately. It was her. On the back of the photo were the names William, Emily, and between the two names, a small heart was drawn. I was woken by the sound of renovations from upstairs. That night, I didn't sleep well, drifting in and out of consciousness, never fully sinking into sleep. When I finally opened my eyes, my mind was still hazy. It took me a while to realize I was in the old house. Since it was too late yesterday, I didn't do anything else and just made do on the sofa for the night. At this moment, someone was sitting not far from me, watching me intently. His gaze was impossible to ignore. It was William. I wasn't surprised to see him here. I remembered one time I had a fight with him and ran out. Just an hour after I had been in the old house, he had come looking for me. I asked him, "How did you know I was here?" William said, "Where else can you go besides here?" He knew I had nowhere to go because I was an orphan. It was William who gave me a home. Someone once asked him why he didn't sell the old house. He replied, "Let them keep it. If someone is unhappy, I can hide there." My feelings for William were complex. There was love and gratitude. I thought we could live a simple life together until the end. Sighing porno. I went to the bathroom to wash up. William bought breakfast and I didn't hold back. After finishing my meal, I asked William, "Her name is Emily. Is she your ex-girlfriend?" The album was right there. Nobody was foolish. William said, "Yes." I looked up at him. "William, what are you doing bringing your ex-girlfriend home, letting her wear your shirt, blow-drying her hair? Are you playing out a long-lost reunion with lingering feelings?" "Whether you believe it or not, nothing happened between us," he said. I shook my head. "I don't believe you." William looked at me with a serious face. After a moment, he rubbed his temples and placed 2 receipts in front of me. "She stayed at my place last night. I was at the hotel. This is proof. If you need, I can pull the surveillance footage. Nothing happened between us." That's a fact. I didn't look at the items on the table. If William dared to put them in front of me, then they would be fake. I just said, "She stays at your place while you're at a hotel, William. Your actions are confusing me. She's not used to staying in hotels, and it's not safe for a girl to stay in a hotel." "Did she tell you that, or are you just being considerate?" William reprimanded. "Speak properly. Don't be sarcastic." Point one thing after another weighed heavily on my heart, and I had reached my limit. "I want to speak properly too, but have you spoken to me properly? Not used to staying in hotels, it's unsafe for a girl. When have I ever not stayed in a hotel during business trips? Why didn't you ever care? Is Emily somehow more precious than anyone else? Why can everyone else do it but not her? Or is it that she holds a special place in your heart?" William seemed to have been stunned. I stepped on a painful spot and stood up abruptly. "I've already stayed out. I've told you nothing happened. What more do you want?" Thunderclouds burst one after another in my mind. I almost felt dizzy. Gripping the table, I shouted, "I want a divorce, William!" His expression changed. "Shut up, Katie. Take those 2 words back," he said through gritted teeth. I met his gaze with a heavy heart. William closed his eyes and clenched his fists. When he opened his eyes again, the chaos was gone. He said, "A divorce? Impossible." William and I fell into a cold war. I stayed in the old house. I didn't go looking for him, and he didn't come looking for me. I didn't know what he was thinking. I was waiting for myself to calm down, calm enough to handle this matter most efficiently. That day, his assistant called me. "Hey, did you and William have a fight?" The young girl was my junior, and she was quite capable. When she initially struggled to find a job, I recommended her to William. Over the years, she had done well working under him. She was grateful to me and had kept in touch all this time. But it was the first time she mentioned William to me. "What's up?" I asked. After hesitating for a few seconds, she said, "William has a social gathering tonight and drank quite a bit. I was going to call you, but then a strange woman came and took him away in William's car." After a few seconds of silence, I sent her Emily's photo. "Is it her?" "Yes." The young girl's tone was worried. "Are you okay?" I laughed lightly. "I'm fine." Even better. It seems the divorce should be put on the agenda. The longer I drag it out, the more I lose. I'm a person of action. The next morning, I contacted a lawyer to draft a divorce agreement. William and I would keep our assets separate. The divorce agreement would just be a formality. The moment William saw me in the company, he paused briefly but quickly returned to a neutral expression. He said, "This is the office. Let's talk about it at home." I would definitely go home. But not now. I placed the divorce agreement in front of him. Sign it. Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau while there's still time. William stared at the divorce agreement for a long time. You came to me just for this? I didn't even bother to respond to the obvious question, but William directly tore the divorce agreement. Did I ever say it was impossible to get divorced? I acted as if I hadn't heard him and pulled out another copy. William tore it again. I continued to present them, and he continued to rip them apart until the 12th copy. William's face was dark and scary. Have you thought it through? I scoffed. You think I'm making a fuss? If I haven't, he slammed the divorce agreement down on the table and signed his name with the pen. Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. William and I drove to the Civil Affairs Bureau one after the other. We were lucky. There weren't many people today, and we didn't wait long before it was our turn. The staff asked, "Have you thought it through?" I nodded. Yes. William's gaze fell on me. What about you? Are you sure? The moment I looked at him, he turned his gaze away. He said coldly, I'm sure. All right, I'll help you register, and you can come back for the divorce certificate in a month. Watching the staff work, the tension I had been holding finally began to ease. Just then, William spoke up. Wait, what's wrong? William looked at me. Katie, are you sure you want a divorce? Absolutely. William stood up abruptly, knocking his chair over with a loud crash. Katie, you're really ruthless. After saying that, he turned and left without looking back. What's going on? The staff asked. I was also stunned and could only hurry after him. William, stop right there. He acted as if he hadn't heard, continuing to walk. I jogged up to him and grabbed him. What do you mean? William's muscles tensed all over. I'll say it one last time, Katie. I cannot divorce you. My anger was ignited in an instant. What do you mean you can't get divorced? Are you just playing with me? William took a deep breath. Katie, how long do you plan to make a scene just because of something unfounded? You run away and create a divorce drama. Do you think this is interesting? You're exhausting me. I quietly looked at William. I'm not making a scene, William. I really want a divorce. Why? William looked completely confused. Is it just because of Emily? There's nothing between us. Nothing at all. Why don't you believe me? How can I believe you? Tell me, where is Emily living now? In a place you arranged? Doesn't she still not have a car? So you gave her one? Why did she pick you up after you got drunk? Where did you two go afterward? And what happened? As I spoke, I shook my head with a laugh. Honestly, we don't even need to discuss all that. Just considering that night, if I hadn't come back, what would have happened between you two? Nothing would have happened. William was getting increasingly irritated. I had already booked my stay at the hotel. If you don't believe me, you can ask. I don't believe you. This was the second time I had said those words. William, I don't believe you. No matter what you say or do now, or how much evidence you present, it won't matter. I simply don't trust you anymore. I was someone who excelled at cutting off toxic ties. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it this far. Life has been unforgiving, and I had to learn to protect myself. I wouldn't let anything drag me down because no one was pulling me forward. I was an orphan, but before I was born, I was considered a posthumous child. My birth mother discovered she was pregnant only after my father died in a car accident. She didn't want to give birth. That was understandable. It was my grandparents who pleaded with her, just give birth and we'll raise the child. They gave my birth mother all of my father's inheritance and the compensation from the accident to buy me, so she gave birth to me. After completing her postpartum confinement, she took the money and left. My grandparents raised me. I had no feelings for my birth mother. No love, no hate, no longing. Those feelings were useless and would only cause me pain, so I let her go. Later, my grandparents passed away one after the other. At that time, I was in middle school, just a half-grown child, and I became a complete orphan. Sadness, despair, longing. I took a month to process all my emotions and then started living my life again. Later, someone offered to buy the old house left by my grandparents for $100,000. I agreed. Everyone said I was foolish. It was obviously a losing deal, taking advantage of the fact that there were no adults in my family. But it was precisely because of that I knew I couldn't keep that house. If I couldn't keep it, I had to let it go. Besides, I needed the money. I had to study and survive. So I sold the house and left the place where I had grown up. Now it was William. He didn't explain himself to me immediately, and after that, whatever he said, I wouldn't believe it anymore. I didn't want to become paranoid. I wouldn't waste myself like that. Let's get a divorce. Don't make it too ugly. Impossible. My determination to divorce was as strong as his determination not to divorce. His attitude made it difficult for me to understand him. Since negotiation was fruitless, I chose to file for divorce. But what I didn't expect was that the day after I filed with the court, William imposed economic sanctions against me. He wanted to terminate our company's collaboration. William and I met through the company. Back then, I had just graduated from college and started a business with a few alumni. I was so ambitious, feeling like we could conquer the world. But reality was harsher than we imagined. We had no funding and no connections. No one was willing to invest in us. Not even anyone willing to give us a chance to explain our entrepreneurial vision. There were too many people like us, filled with enthusiasm and starting businesses. Just when we were nearly hopeless, preparing to find jobs elsewhere, a company approached us. They expressed a willingness to talk. It felt like we had grasped a lifeline. Who would have thought it was just a straw? The person in charge told me, "Sleep with me for a year, and I'll give you whatever you want." Without a second thought, I refused, but they wouldn't let me go. In the chaos, I smashed a bottle over his head. I was arrested. That person threatened to make me rot in prison. At that time, I had already prepared for the worst. But then William appeared. He was like a savior. He easily handled those people, bailed me out, and sent someone to negotiate with our company for collaboration. I thought he had ulterior motives as well, so I started to take off my clothes one by one in front of him. But he put them back on me piece by piece. "No need for this," I asked him. "Why help me?" He said, "Just think of it as me pitying you." I gladly accepted his pity. There was nothing to resent. After all, I was indeed quite pitiable. So with William's support, our company started to thrive. But now he wanted to use this matter to control me. I must say I was indeed at his mercy. Upon arriving at William's company, I asked him, "What do you want?" William looked up at me. He said, "Withdraw the divorce petition." We faced each other. His calm demeanor made his stance clear. I laughed lightly. "Is that all? Fine. I'll withdraw it right away. Any other questions?" My prompt response didn't seem to satisfy William. His brow was tightly furrowed. After a long pause, he asked, "When are you moving back?" "Is that a condition?" To William's lips pressed into a straight line. "Fine, I got it. Today, is that okay?" William threw the pen he was holding onto the table. "Get out." "Yes, sir." The smile I maintained vanished completely. After I got into the car, I hated the feeling of being manipulated. No one should have that power over me, not even William. I made a call. Everyone at the company waited for me to return for the meeting. This meeting lasted a long time and didn't end until dawn, but it didn't achieve the results I wanted. My idea was to find a different partner. The market is so vast. It's not just about William. William could call off our collaboration at any time, and we could easily replace him. But they disagreed. After living in comfort for too long, they sought stability over change. William offered generous terms. No matter how we terminated our collaboration with William, we would incur losses. Their mindset was, as long as William was still an option, he was the first choice. They even advised me, "It's a small matter. Why be so calculating? Which man doesn't have affairs, especially William? As long as he hasn't made any principal mistakes, what's there to forgive?" I scoffed at those words. So this is what it means to not share the same values. It seemed it was time for me to step away. I just needed more time before I could leave. I needed time to ensure that the funds I took with me wouldn't dwindle. So I moved back in. When I returned, William was still awake. He was sitting in the living room with a notebook. Upon seeing me, he took off his glasses. "We need to talk." I outright refused him. "I'm tired. Let's do it next time." William's expression darkened. I pretended not to see and went straight into the guest room. I had no idea which room Emily slept in that night or what she touched or used. In any case, everything in this house made me uncomfortable. In the end, I used a sheet to make do on the sofa for one night. But when I woke up, I found myself in bed. This made my face sink immediately. William was in the kitchen frying eggs. I questioned him sternly. "Who told you to move my stuff?" William paused his actions, taking a deep breath. He said, "The sheets and duvet cover were all changed. It's clean." I gritted my teeth. "That doesn't matter right now. Even the air in this house makes me sick." "Katie," William scolded, "you're being unreasonable. She only stayed one night. Nothing happened." "What are you trying to do?" I sneered at him. "Me? When I'm wearing another man's shirt, exposing my thighs and seductively leaning in his embrace while he—" As I dried my hair, "That's when you can understand how I feel." William's eyes blazed with anger. I shook my head lightly. "It's not that I wouldn't dare. It's that I can't. I have principles. Do you?" Disgusting. William and I parted on bad terms. He threw the breakfast into the trash and went back to his room with a cold face. I didn't hold back either and slammed the door loudly. Thus we fell into a cold war once more. I was busy going out early and returning late. William was also very busy. For several consecutive days, we didn't even see each other. During these days, I met with some people and discussed selling shares. If I were to sell my shares, those in the company should be the first choice. But their stance was too clear. They were not on my side. To maximize my interests, I could only seek external help. The only concession I made was to disperse the shares. At least I wanted those who held shares not to have decision-making power in the company. As for whether they would want to buy back the shares later, that would be their business. The negotiations went smoothly. As the money flowed in, I completely withdrew from the company. They were furious and stormed over to confront me, their faces flushed, ready to tear each other apart. It was quite an unpleasant sight. I gave you all a choice. You just didn't take it. Actually, this is not bad. William and I will eventually fall out, and when that happens, you won't be able to blame me. Besides, you've thought about kicking me out too." Their eyes darted away. "You're talking nonsense. When did we have such thoughts?" I felt disinterested. "That's because you're afraid of William. Otherwise, when the rabbit dies, who remembers the dog?" With the company matters fully resolved, the next step was to settle things between William and me. But I didn't expect that before I could find William, Emily approached me first. She said she wanted to talk. I agreed. As soon as we sat down, she questioned me. "Why haven't you divorced him yet? How long do you plan to cling to William?" Her words made me laugh. "What position are you speaking from? As a lover? A mistress? Did William agree to this? He's always told me that you two have no relationship. Do you understand what that means? You're not even qualified to be a mistress." As I spoke, I looked her up and down. "It's not that I don't want a divorce. It's that William absolutely refuses. Is that all you can do?" Emily's eyes reddened with anger. "You're talking nonsense. How could William not want a divorce? He doesn't like you. If it weren't for—" Emily suddenly trailed off. I looked at her in confusion. If it weren't for what? If it wasn't? Emily's eyes darted around and a triumphant smile appeared on her face. "You've never been curious. You and William are from two different worlds. Why did he suddenly appear, and why did he inexplicably help you? Katie, you can't think all this is just coincidence, right? You're so naive." I asked her, "What do you mean?" Emily raised her eyebrows. "Want to know? Then you have to beg me." I quietly stared at her, then scoffed. "Well, you better hold it in and don't say anything." After saying that, I stood up to leave. "Emily, stop!" I didn't pause. "Katie!" I pushed open the door and was about to leave. "Wait!" Emily raised her voice. "Come back! I have something to show you." I smirked and casually sat back down. Emily had lost her initial bravado. Good, this is the attitude for a conversation. With a cold expression, Emily didn't waste any more words and directly took out a photo from her handbag. She pushed the photo in front of me. "This is William with his adoptive mother." I glanced at the photo casually. William looked about 5 or 6 years old, very thin, dark, and small. If Emily hadn't said anything, I wouldn't have recognized him at all. Just as I was puzzled about why Emily wanted to show me this photo, the sight of that woman left me stunned. A distant memory suddenly sprang to mind. I had seen this woman before in my hometown. At the bottom shelf of my grandmother's overflowing wardrobe, there was a dark red booklet. It was labeled with 3 words, marriage certificate. When opened, there was a photo inside. The photo had 2 people. One was my deceased father, and the other was my runaway mother. I didn't know much about William's family situation. All I knew was that both his father and mother had passed away, and he had no siblings or relatives. Like me, he was an orphan. The only difference was that he was rich, and I was not. William would periodically go to visit his parents' graves. I had once mentioned going with him, but he refused. He said, no need. His no need also extinguished my thoughts of taking him back to see my grandparents. Sometimes I wondered if our way of interacting was right, but there was no answer. I had no experience interacting with others, nor did I have elders to guide me. In the end, I could only tell myself, just let it be. I maintained this attitude while being with William for 5 years, and now Emily told me that these 5 years were just a joke. Emily said that William was an orphan, a true orphan, the kind raised in an orphanage. But he was lucky. At the age of 6, he was adopted by a wealthy couple. The couple had no children and treated him as their own, especially his adoptive mother. His adoptive father passed away from illness when he was 12, and his adoptive mother died of cancer 6 years ago, pancreatic cancer. She held on for half a year before she passed away. Before William's adoptive mother died, she told him that she actually had another daughter. She felt guilty towards her daughter and hoped William could help find her and take care of her. Well, guess who that daughter is? Emily looked at me, a twisted smile spreading across her face. At that time, William and I were still in love. He suddenly broke up with me, saying he wanted to fulfill his mother's last wish. But why? He was obviously my boyfriend. Why did he think he could just leave me? He wanted to fulfill his mother's wish, but what about me? Katie, look at you. How lucky you are. Your mother thought of you until her death, and she had William protect you? But what about me? Why should your family matters sacrifice our love? I took the photo from Emily before parting. She stopped me. Katie, you will divorce William, right? Yes, I replied. But are you sure you want to reclaim someone who can be tossed aside at will? William, we need to talk. I arranged to meet William at home. He arrived half an hour later than me. He loosened his tie and sat down. What do we talk about? Where should I start? Forget it. I'll be direct. I placed the photo in front of William. So your adoptive mother is my biological mother? William's hand, which was unbuttoning his cufflinks, froze. Who gave you this? I shook my head. That question is meaningless. Let's talk about something significant. Emily. William slumped onto the sofa. I should have realized it. Only she has seen this photo. So what do you want to tell me? Silence. Long, lingering silence. Just when I thought William would remain silent, he finally spoke. From his mouth, I heard a more detailed past. My adoptive mother was a remarkable woman. She established her own cosmetics brand all by herself. Later, she met my adoptive father, and they got together. My adoptive father couldn't have children, so my adoptive mother suggested adopting a child from an orphanage, and that's how they adopted me. William continued, the greatest fortune of my life was meeting them and becoming their child. But good times didn't last long. My adoptive father passed away, and then my adoptive mother got cancer. As he spoke, he looked at me. It wasn't until then that I learned of your existence, Katie. I hope you understand she always cared about you. She never forgot you. The kindness she showed me was also to make up for you. She transferred all her debts to me. She loved you. Her greatest wish before she died was for you to be well and to hope you could forgive her. I'm sorry for hiding this from you for so long. Listening to William's account, I kept waiting for my emotions to collapse or erupt, but they didn't. I felt calm, unprecedented calm. My condolences, I said quietly. William stared at me in shock. Don't you have anything else to say? After a moment's thought, I said, then for the sake of our common mother, let's part on good terms and get the divorce done as soon as possible. Katie, William called my name. but then fell silent. After a long pause, he said, "Are you still holding a grudge against her? She's already gone. Can't you forgive her in light of her passing?" I let out a breath of frustration. Hatred? Not really. If I had to say, it's quite unlucky. Katie, shut up, I chuckled lightly. Fine. What do you want to hear? I forgive her. I love her to death. She's the best mother in the world, and I will remember and thank her for the rest of my life. Are you satisfied? If you need, I can even go to her grave to say that. So can we talk about the divorce now? Katie, I know my name. No need to remind me repeatedly. William was suppressing his anger. I know it's hard for you to accept right now, but take your time. We can discuss it slowly when you're ready. I waved my hand. No, let's talk quickly. You tell me what your demands are. What do you need me to do? I could even go visit your adoptive mother's grave every year as long as you divorce me. Just let me go. Every word I said to William, every second spent together, made me feel extremely uncomfortable. And it's like discovering a fly in my sandwich, and it's only half a fly. Katie, I won't divorce you. I promised my mother I would take good care of you. Great. I swallowed the other half of the fly too. William, the deceased should be prioritized. I don't want to slander your mother. You're the one forcing me. William frowned, his face full of resistance. You say your adoptive mother is impressive. She started her own cosmetics brand all by herself. But do you know where her money came from? William didn't know, but I did. That was my dad's life-saving money. Do you know how ruthless she was? She took every penny of my dad's compensation and his entire salary. Nothing was left behind when she left. She was afraid my grandparents would stop her, so she pretended to take me for a walk. She abandoned me, left me behind the barn to buy herself some time. It was winter and I almost died in that barn. Impossible, William instinctively denied it. I continued, I don't hate her. I'm just frustrated by the energy I wasted on her. To me, she is an irrelevant stranger, yet you insist on emphasizing that she loves me, cares for me, and feels sorry for me. But when I was struggling with my grandparents, facing the ground and digging for money in the mud, where was she? When my grandparents passed away and others threatened me, saying if I didn't sell the house, they would sell me, where was she? When I was bullied, almost ready to fight to the death, where was she? In my sophomore year, when all my money was stolen, tuition, living expenses, not a penny left, and I almost jumped off the rooftop, where was she? What's the point? Without emotional ties, she's just a stranger. If we talk feelings, she deserves to go to hell. My every word made William's face turn pale. I don't know. We don't know. Your mother wanted to make it up to you, Katie. She just didn't know how to face you. I scoffed. Really hard for her? Clearly, she could live comfortably without worries, yet she made my heart grind against this gravel. I must be so damned. That's not what I mean, William eagerly tried to explain, but he clearly wasn't good at it. The strong emotional waves made me a little uncomfortable, so I raised my hand to press my temple. You people are really something. Because you feel guilty towards me, you compensate her? Did I die? Shouldn't the guilt towards me be compensated to me? She got cancer and feared she wouldn't die in peace. So she shifted the responsibility to you so she could leave with a clear conscience. As for you, you want to repay her and settle debts. You have a mission to fulfill, so you married me. How unfair. I looked at William curiously. Usly, why do you think the best way to compensate me is to marry me? Do you think I can't get married? You might as well have given me more money back then. Seriously, William, let's divorce. I came out of her womb. There are delivery records and a birth certificate. It would be easy for me to prove I'm her daughter. If you still disagree, I'll have to see you for inheritance. That day, I rambled on about a lot of things other than a few words at the beginning. William quietly listened the entire time. We both knew that there was no possibility left between us. Divorce was inevitable. I waited for William for 3 days and he finally agreed. This time he drafted the divorce agreement himself. He gave me most of his assets, along with shares in the company and other things. I didn't look closely at them. I wasn't interested in those things. My psychologist once said that my biggest problem was a lack of desire, that I had no desire for anything, even money. This is easy to understand. After all, I had no one behind me and no one in front of me. He asked me, "What do you want most? You need to find something you desire. Otherwise, you wouldn't even have the desire to survive." I thought for a long time and then told him, "I want someone to love me. I work hard and strive to become a better person just to be loved by someone." But William ruined everything. He ruined my 5 years. I hated him, but I couldn't bring myself to truly hate him. I couldn't let him leave such a deep mark on my heart. I had to tell myself that he at least helped me, no matter what his intentions were. He once saved me from danger. What I needed to do was let him go. Letting go, that's what my psychologist advised me. You must decisively cast away those things, pulling you down and move forward without looking back. The people who love you are ahead. William and I registered our divorce at the Civil Affairs Bureau, and a month later we received the divorce certificate. I decided to leave the city. Emily also left. She said, "It's really meaningless. I couldn't let go of him all these years, and it turns out it was just like this." Tell me, did I feed the dogs all these years? By the way, I owe you an apology for interfering in your lives. I'm sorry. I didn't forgive her, nor did I hate her. She was just a passerby in this period of my life, tripping me and leaving me with some dust. I brushed off the dust, stood up, and had to move forward. I wouldn't look back. A true hero never looks back. It wasn't until Katie left the city that William began to truly understand her. In the past, Katie was just someone to whom he owed gratitude. Marrying her, providing her resources, giving her money. He thought that was enough. Katie was merely a vague symbol, thinner than a piece of paper. He couldn't see Katie making him medicine. He couldn't see Katie cheering him up. He couldn't see Katie's expectations, nor could he see Katie's disappointments. Letting Katie live with his blind self for 5 years was indeed unfortunate. It was only in the 3rd month after Katie left that William learned she had been seeing a psychologist. The psychologist refused to disclose patient information, but he said, "Living is very difficult for Katie, but she has been trying hard. She is the strongest patient I've ever seen." From that day on, William started looking for Katie. He wouldn't disturb her. He just wanted to know if Katie was safe. A year later, he finally found Katie in a particularly small city, only she wasn't alone. She was holding the hand of a wobbly toddler. At that moment, William's heart almost stopped. He booked a flight overnight and rushed to that city. He saw Katie. She had lost weight and softened. Katie looked surprised to see him. "Long time no see." William felt awkward for the first time. "Long time no see." His gaze couldn't help but fall on the child. Katie was so clever. She understood immediately. She laughed dryly. "Don't get the wrong idea. It's not my child. He's adopted, a little orphan." William's heart lifted and then sank heavily. Katie was right. He really thought this was a child that Katie had borne behind his back. What a disappointment. It was at that moment he realized he truly wanted a child conceived together with Katie. William suddenly felt like crying. What had he done? "Can I still come to see you, to see the child?" Katie shot back. "It's best not to. Otherwise, I'll have to move again, which is quite troublesome." William felt even sadder. He suddenly felt very lonely. He didn't want to leave. He wanted to buy a house next to Katie and settle down, but he knew he couldn't do that. He could only say goodbye to Katie. "Goodbye." Katie smiled faintly. "Let us wish each other well and not meet again." Katie still walked away. A week after William appeared, she left with the child. She was showing William with her actions that he shouldn't look for her anymore, that he shouldn't disturb her. After hearing the news, William drank all night, his stomach aching painfully enough to bring him to tears. But he had lost the person who used to make him medicine. He gave up looking for Katie again. He wished her happiness.